They missed it. You noticed first a crooked pattern under daylight. Their rules cracked. Your brain smiled. Silent systems started shaking. Every locked door heard you coming. Every safe lie lost its teeth. They watched screens. You saw strings. They counted noise. You found signal. Now the room feels smaller because suddenly you exist and control is nervous. They never logged you. Not because you were invisible, but because you didn't behave like anything they already knew how to measure. Every system runs on neat little cages, personality types, IQ brackets, compliance scores, behavioral heat maps. Most people slide right in, click lock, and spend their whole lives mistaking the bars for reality. But you kept slipping through the gaps between categories. Too analytical for the dreamers, too intuitive for the calculators, too unpredictable for the obedient. So the system did the only thing it could. It pretended you didn't exist. That wasn't mercy. That was a hidden test. See, real power doesn't waste time fighting loud rebels. It quietly watches the ones who don't fit, the ones who don't need permission to think, the ones who don't react on schedule. You were placed into the shadow tier, the unregistered tier, where minds are observed without being acknowledged. No trophies, no warnings, just long, silent evaluation. Secret clubs don't recruit geniuses the way movies pretend. They wait. They let people talk. They let them show their patterns. They let them prove how predictable they are. And when someone like you enters the room and doesn't move to the same rhythm, that's when the eyes start to linger. Because unpredictability is the one thing control structures cannot afford. You saw contradictions where others saw rules. You felt something off where others felt safe. While everyone else memorized the maze, you started noticing how the walls were built. That's why people around you sometimes got uncomfortable without knowing why. Your questions weren't dangerous. Your angles were angels and monsters. Those are just labels the system uses to keep people sorting themselves. Good ones obey, bad ones resist. But the ones who quietly understand, those don't fit either box. Those are the ones the machine can't decide how to handle. So they watched you, not because you were small, because you were undefined. And in a world that survives on classification, the thing that cannot be labeled becomes the biggest threat of all. That's why, when they finally connected the dots about you, it wasn't outrage that filled the room. It was silence. Because silence is what happens when a system realizes the variable it ignored is the one that changes the entire equation they thought you'd loop. Everyone does. People repeat themselves the way clocks repeat seconds. Habits, reactions, fears, excuses. That's how control is built. If a system can predict what you'll do next, it owns you. If it can't, it studies you. You didn't repeat. That was the first fracture. You made lateral moves while everyone else walked forward. When the crowd zigged, you paused. When they panicked, you observed. And while they were busy reacting to noise, you were quietly tracking signal. That's what made them uneasy. You weren't fast. You were accurate. Hidden tests started forming around you. Conversations that weren't really conversations. Opportunities that weren't really opportunities. Traps disguised as invitations. They wanted to see if you would conform once they gave you a little rope. Most people hang themselves with it. You used it to measure the ceiling. Secret clubs love predictable talent. People who shine the way they're told to shine. But a mind that changes the rules of the game? That kind of intelligence doesn't get applause. It gets flagged. They tried to simplify you, put you into a narrative. Smart but difficult, talented but unstable, capable but risky. Every label was just another attempt to make you smaller than you really are. But the paradox kept breaking their models. The more they tried to box you in, the more you seemed to expand. Because you weren't following a pattern, you were creating one. And that's when the room started to feel colder. They began to notice something. Terrifying. You weren't reacting to what was happening. You were reacting to what was about to happen. Your timing didn't match the present. It matched the future. That's why people around you sometimes felt a strange delay, like they were always a step behind without knowing why. You weren't lucky. You were aligned. And alignment beats effort every time. By the time they finally realized this, it was too late to pretend you were just another variable in the spreadsheet. You had become a moving target, constantly rewriting your own trajectory. That's when the dots connected, not about who you were, but about how dangerous it is when someone can see the pattern while it's still forming. Nobody told you there was a classroom. Nobody handed you a syllabus. And yet somehow, you passed. That's the part that breaks their brains. Most people wait for green lights, approval, titles, someone official to say, yes, you're allowed to be this smart now. They line up inside invisible hallways, hoping one day a door will open and reveal their worth. But you never stood in line. You walked through walls they didn't even realize were fake. That's why your growth looked suspicious. You didn't move in neat stages. You leapt. You didn't collect validation. You collected understanding. While others were memorizing rules, you were decoding why those rules existed in the first place. That's a different kind of education. One the system doesn't know how to reward because it can't control it. Hidden exams started popping up around you. Social tests, psychological tests, pressure situations designed to see if you'd break, submit, or shrink. Most people fail by trying to be liked. You passed by staying accurate, by not bending just to keep the room comfortable. That's when the watchers realized something unsettling. You weren't just learning, you were outgrowing. Angels and monsters blurred here. To some people you looked gifted, to others you looked dangerous. But the truth was simpler. You were no longer operating at the level they expected. You had quietly graduated from the game they were still playing. And nobody likes when someone skips levels without asking, because graduation without permission is a threat. It means the gatekeepers don't decide who advances anymore. It means the ladders they built can be climbed from the outside. That's why certain doors started closing around you, not because you were wrong, but because you were ahead. They weren't trying to block you, they were trying to slow you down long enough to catch up. But here's the part they didn't plan for. You don't move on their timeline. By the time they noticed you were no longer in the same class, you were already somewhere else, operating with a clarity that made their tests look childish. That's when the room shifted. Because a mind that no longer needs permission to evolve is a mind no system can ever truly contain. Something inverted, quietly, uncomfortably. At first, you were the one being observed. Glances that lingered too long, conversations that felt slightly staged, people asking questions that weren't really questions. You could feel it, even if you couldn't yet name it. The air around you had a strange pressure, like the room was listening, but then it flipped. You didn't announce anything. You didn't change your tone. You didn't start acting powerful. You simply kept being exactly what you are, a mind that sees further than it speaks. And that was enough, because once you graduate without permission, you stop being data. You become uncertainty, and uncertainty terrifies systems that survive on control. Those secret rooms you were never invited into. They started whispering about you, not with admiration, with calculation. You became a risk factor, a loose thread, the kind of variable that makes models collapse if it pulls too hard. They started tracking instead of testing. That's the moment you know you've crossed a line, when the experiments stop and the surveillance begins, when you're no longer being evaluated for inclusion but monitored for impact. People around you changed too. Some grew distant, some suddenly became polite. Some tried to probe you with casual questions that carried way too much weight. They weren't curious about you, they were nervous about what you might already know. Because you had begun to see the watchers, you noticed the patterns behind the smiles, the timing behind the invitations, the way certain doors opened too easily while others slammed shut for no logical reason. You realized that what once felt like randomness was actually choreography, and you were no longer dancing to it, you were watching it. That's the power shift nobody warns you about. Not when you get loud, not when you get famous, but when you get clear. Clarity breaks illusions. And illusions are the currency of control. So now, while they pretend everything is normal, there's a quiet tension underneath it all. They know you're not asleep anymore. They know you're not just reacting to what they show you. You're reading between the frames, and that's why, without ever saying it out loud, the ones who used to study you are starting to feel like the ones being exposed. That's when it happened. Not an argument, not an accusation, not a confrontation. Silence. The kind that drops into a room like gravity suddenly changing direction. The kind that tells you something just hit a wall it wasn't supposed to find. See, systems don't go quiet when they're confident. They go quiet when their calculations fail. When too many variables stop lining up. When something enters the equation that wasn't in the original design, that something was you. You didn't attack them. You didn't challenge them in public. You didn't demand anything. You simply kept moving with a precision that didn't belong to their script. You made choices that didn't fit the predictions. You saw outcomes before they were allowed to exist, and that's what froze them. Because control only works when reactions are predictable. When fear behaves on schedule, when ambition stays inside approved lanes. But you weren't motivated by their rewards or their threats. You were motivated by understanding. And understanding is the one thing power can't negotiate with. So the conversation stopped. People who used to have opinions suddenly had none. Doors that used to open with effort now opened without explanation, or stayed closed with no reason given. Meetings ended early. Messages went unanswered. You became the topic nobody wanted to name. That's not indifference. That's containment. Silence is what happens when a system realizes it can't argue with you, can't bribe you, and can't outmaneuver you without revealing itself. So it does the only thing it can. It waits. It hopes you'll misstep. It hopes you'll doubt yourself. It hopes you'll slow down. Because as long as you're moving, the pressure keeps building. And deep down, they know something else too. You didn't break their rules, you exposed them. Every quiet pause, every avoided glance, every carefully neutral response is just another confirmation that you've crossed into territory they don't control anymore. That's why the silence feels so loud. It isn't empty, it's full of fear, trying desperately not to make a sound. They finally gave it a name, not out loud, not in public, but in the places where decisions are actually made. You weren't just smart. You weren't just talented. You were something far more inconvenient, a disruptive mind. The kind that doesn't just solve problems, but changes which problems even matter. That's why they couldn't place you. Genius, the way the system understands it, is safe. It wins awards. It looks impressive. It stays useful. But your intelligence doesn't decorate their world. It rearranges it. You don't add to the structure. You quietly bend it. And that makes you uncontainable. They tried to frame you as an outlier, a statistical fluke, something that happens once and then goes back into the noise. But you didn't fade. You kept sharpening. You kept connecting dots they didn't even know were related. You kept stepping into outcomes they hadn't finished preparing for. So now, instead of managing you, they manage around you. That's a big shift. It means meetings happen without you. Decisions get delayed because of you. Plans are revised not based on what you did, but on what you might do. You became a silent presence in rooms you never entered. Angels and monsters again, two stories they tell themselves to stay calm. If you're an angel, you'll save the system. If you're a monster, they can justify fighting you. But the truth is worse for them. You're neither. You're a variable they can't neutralize, because you don't need their platforms. You don't depend on their permission. You don't chase their approval. You operate from a place that doesn't respond to their levers. That's what real genius looks like to PO. Plel, who live by control, it looks like a threat, and now they know something they wish they didn't. You're not trying to beat the game, you're playing a different one, and they don't know the rules. In the end, it didn't collapse with noise, it collapsed with understanding. That's the part they never saw coming. Everyone thinks power breaks when someone pushes hard enough, when rebellion gets loud, when chaos floods the streets. But that's theater. That's what the system is built to survive. It has protocols for anger. It has scripts for outrage. It even has rewards for controlled opposition. What it doesn't have is a defense against someone who sees through it. You never tried to overthrow anything. You didn't need to. You simply stepped outside the frame it was using to define reality. And the moment you did that, Everything inside that frame started to look smaller, weaker, and strangely artificial. That's the final paradox. The system didn't lose control because you attacked it. It lost control because you no longer belonged to it. All those tests, all those invisible walls, all those carefully designed hierarchies were built on one assumption: that everyone wants something the system controls: status, safety, approval, access. But you outgrew that hunger. You realize that the real currency isn't what they give, it's what you no longer need. And when someone stops needing the rewards, the punishments lose their teeth. That's why the people who once ignored you now look at you with something close to dread. Not because you're loud, not because you're violent, but because you're free in a way they can't replicate. You don't move toward their carrots. You don't flinch from their sticks. You move according to an internal logic they can't map. That makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability is the one thing no control structure can tolerate for long. They built their world on repetition, on people wanting the same things, fearing the same losses, chasing the same illusions. That's how order is maintained. But you disrupted that by simply wanting something different: clarity, understanding, truth without decoration. That's a dangerous desire, because when one person starts seeing clearly, others begin to wonder what they're missing. The illusion cracks, the costumes slip. The game starts to look like what it always was, a game. And suddenly the ones who are writing the rules realize they're just players too. That's the moment they went silent, not because they ran out of things to say, but because they ran out of ways to define you. You don't fit their stories. You don't match their projections. You don't behave according to their expectations. You're not the hero they can use, and you're not the villain they can fight. You're the one variable that doesn't resolve into anything comfortable. You're the glitch that stays. Angels and monsters, winners and losers, insiders and outsiders. Those are just costumes people wear inside the maze. But you stepped above it long enough to see the whole layout. And once you see the maze, you don't get lost in it again. That's the part that scares them the most. You're not trapped by their narratives. You don't need their validation. You don't even need their opposition. You're operating on a level where their drama looks small and their power looks fragile. So now, while they're busy pretending everything is normal, you're quietly becoming something else entirely. Not a threat in the traditional sense, not a savior, not a destroyer. Something far more unsettling, a mind that cannot be contained by the old rules. And that means the future doesn't belong to the ones who built the system. It belongs to the ones who outgrew it. And that's where the real shift begins. Not in explosions, not in applause, but in the subtle rearranging of gravity. You start noticing it first in the small things. The way certain people hesitate before speaking around you. The way conversations bend without anyone admitting they did. It's not respect, it's recalibration. They're adjusting their internal maps because the old ones don't point to you anymore. You've moved, not physically, psychologically. Once someone steps outside a system, that system can't unsee it. Every rule starts to look negotiable. Every authority starts to feel provisional. You become a living contradiction to the idea that reality is fixed, and that makes everyone else uncomfortable in ways they can't articulate. They'll try to normalize you. That's the next trick. Turn you into a story they can repeat. A cautionary tale, a misunderstood genius, a lucky anomaly. Anything that makes you fit back into something manageable. But stories only work when the person inside them plays along. You won't, because you've already seen how the narratives are built. How heroes and villains are assigned to keep people emotionally invested while the real machinery hums quietly in the background. You're not impressed by the costumes anymore. You're watching the hands that move them. And that means you can't be manipulated the same way. That's what gives you the strange kind of calm you feel now. Not happiness, not confidence, but a grounded clarity. You know where you stand because you're no longer standing on anyone else's expectations. That's dangerous. Not because you want to burn anything down, but because you no longer need to keep anything standing for the wrong reasons. So the world around you will keep shifting. Some people will drift away. Some will suddenly try to get close. Some will act as if nothing changed. But underneath all of it, there's a quiet truth settling into place. You are no longer just reacting to the game. You're seeing how it's played, and once someone reaches that level of awareness, they don't go back to being a piece on the board. They become the one who understands the board itself.
Listen up. One of your closest allies, your so-called friend, is bleeding out in the shadows, dying, and they're clutching a secret so dark it'll tear your world to shreds. You think you've tasted betrayal? Pfft, you haven't even sipped the poison yet. This truth they're hiding, it's a jagged blade slicing deeper with every lie they whisper. Are you ready to face the fire, or will you just sit there, eyes shut, while the world around you burns to cinders? They smile to your face, call you family, but behind those eyes, a hurricane of deceit. Every word they've spoken, tainted, every promise, shattered before it even left their lips. This betrayer isn't just dying. They're dragging you into the abyss with them, into a pit of lies so deep you'll never claw your way out. Feel that chill slithering down your spine? That's the truth knocking, hissing. You've been played. Oh, but it gets uglier. This secret they're guarding, it's not just about them, it's about you. It's about every choice you've made, every ounce of trust you've poured into them. They've spun a web so tight you're already tangled and you don't even see the threads. Picture this. Their final breath, their last chance to come clean, and they still choose to choke on the truth. Why? Because they'd rather watch you drown in their lies than face the wreckage they've caused. What's truly sick? They think they're protecting you. Protecting? As if their silence isn't a venom seeping into your life, rotting everything you thought was real. The clock's ticking, their pulse is fading, and with every second, the truth slips further into the void. Want to find it? Want to rip it from their trembling hands? Then stop swallowing their smiles and start digging. Because once they're gone, that truth, it's dust, scattered forever. And here's the kicker. While they're gasping, lying, fading, you're still here, believing in them. Believing in loyalty, in love, in all those shiny little fairy tales they fed you. Wake up. The world isn't kind, and neither are they. Betrayal isn't just a word, it's a wound, and it's bleeding you dry. So what's it gonna be? Will you chase the truth, or let their lies bury you? Choose fast. Time's running out. Let's twist the knife deeper, shall we? This betrayer didn't just trip into this lie. Oh no, they sculpted it. Every glance, every laugh, every moment they shared with you was a performance, a sick, twisted play. And you were the starry-eyed audience applauding while they pulled the strings. You think you know them. You don't even know their shadow. The person you trusted, they're a phantom, a mask, a lie wrapped in a face you thought you loved. The truth they're hiding? It's not some petty gossip or minor slip. It's a bomb, ticking louder with every faltering heartbeat they've got left. It's the kind of revelation that shatters lives, snaps hearts in two, and burns every bridge you've ever crossed. Maybe they betrayed you in a way so vile it'd freeze your blood. Or maybe, oh, this is rich. Maybe they're shielding someone else, someone who's been playing you both like pawns. Either way, they're taking it to their grave, cackling at your trust as they go. You're probably wondering, why me? Why now? Oh, darling, it's always been you. From the moment you let them in, you handed them the knife, and they've been carving you up ever since. Slow, steady, with every fake tear and hollow apology. The worst part? Even now, as they're slipping away, they're still playing the game, still lying, still betting you're too soft to call them out. So here's your moment. The truth is, out there, buried under their lies, screaming for you to find it. But it won't come easy. You'll have to claw through their words, their excuses, their pathetic little half-truths. You'll have to stare into their dying eyes and demand, what's yours? the truth. Because if you don't, you'll spend forever haunted by the ghost of what they never said. Don't let them win. Don't let their silence cage you. Rip the mask off, shred the lies, and take what's yours before it's too late. Because once they're gone, the truth doesn't just die, it vanishes, and you're left with nothing but regrets and a heart stitched with scars. But let's peel back another layer of this rotting onion. This betrayer. They're not alone. Lies like this don't grow in a vacuum. There's a whole network of deceit, a cast of shadows you haven't even met. Maybe they're covering for someone else, someone pulling strings from the dark. Or maybe they're just a pawn in a bigger game, sacrificing themselves to keep you blind. Their silence is a signal. There's more to this than you think. You're not just fighting one lie. You're up against a machine of betrayal, oiled and polished, built to keep you spinning in circles. And here's the gut punch. You're not innocent in this. Don't look so shocked. You let them in. You ignored the cracks in their stories, the flickers of doubt in your gut. You chose to believe because it was easier than facing the ugly truth. And now, you're paying for it. Every moment you spent trusting them was a brick in the wall they built around you. But walls can be broken. You just need the guts to swing the hammer. Think about it. Every dodged question, every story that didn't quite add up, those were clues, screaming at you to wake up. But you kept sleeping, didn't you? Kept dreaming of loyalty while they sharpened their knives, and now as they lie there fading, they're still betting on your blindness. They're betting you'll cry for them, mourn them, without ever questioning. The poison they fed you, so what's it gonna take? How much more do you need to lose before you fight back? The truth isn't just a prize, it's your survival. It's the only thing that'll free you from this circus of lies. But freedom has a price. You'll have to face the ugliness, the pain, the raw, jagged edges of what they've done. You'll have to look at the person you trusted and see them for what they are, a liar, a coward, a thief who stole your faith. And don't kid yourself. This isn't just about them. This is about everyone watching you, waiting to see if you'll break or burn brighter. Show them. Show them you're not some puppet dancing on their strings. Show them you can rip through the lies and come out stronger. Because if you don't, you're just another victim, another fool who trusted too much and paid the price. Let's crank up the chaos. This betrayer, this snake, they didn't just lie to you, they rewrote your reality. Every memory you have with them, tainted. Every shared laugh, a mockery. They've been painting your world with colors you didn't even know were fake. And now the canvas is peeling, revealing the rot underneath. You thought you were building something real together. Ha! You were building their lie brick by brick while they watched you sweat. And that secret they're hiding, it's not just a bomb. It's a whole arsenal. It's the kind of truth that doesn't just hurt, it obliterates. Maybe they sold you out for their own gain, traded your trust for a handful of silver. Or maybe they're protecting a secret so big it involves everyone you know. A conspiracy of silence that's been choking you from all sides. Whatever it is, it's eating them alive. And they'd rather die than let it out. You want to know why they're so scared to confess. Because the truth isn't just dangerous, it's lethal. It's the kind of thing that changes everything. Flips the board and scatters the pieces. They know once it's out, there's no going back. No more smiles, no more lies, no more pretending. Just raw, ugly reality staring you in the face. And they're terrified you'll hate them for it. Or worse, hate yourself for believing them. But here's the twisted part. Part of you wants to stay blind. Part of you wants to keep believing the lie because the truth is too heavy, too sharp, too real. You're standing at the edge of a cliff and the truth is the wind howling behind you, daring you to jump. It's easier to stay put, isn't it? To keep pretending everything's fine. To let their lies wrap you up like a warm blanket. But that blanket's soaked in gasoline and the match is already lit. So what's stopping you? Fear, loyalty, love. Pfft. Those are just chains they forged to keep you tame. Break them. Smash them. The truth is your weapon, your fire, your way out. But you've got to want it more than you want their approval. You've got to want it more than you want the comfort of their lies. Because the second you hesitate, they've won. They'll slip away and you'll be left holding nothing but ashes. Now let's talk about the world they've built around you. This betrayer didn't just lie. They constructed a whole universe of deception. Every friend they introduced, you two, every story they told, every moment they orchestrated, it was all part of the script. You were living in their movie, playing the role they wrote for you, and you didn't even know you were on stage. But the curtains are falling now, and the spotlight's on you. What's your next line? You think this is just about one person? Think again. Betrayal like this doesn't happen in isolation. There's a ripple effect, a chain reaction. Their lie didn't just hurt you, it poisoned everyone around you. Your friends, your family, your whole world's been touched by this venom, and you didn't even notice. That's how good they were. That's how deep this goes. And the truth? It's not just one secret. It's a hydra. Cut off one head, and two more grow back. Every answer you find will lead to another question, another betrayal, another layer of lies. You thought you were close to the bottom? Ha, you're barely scratching the surface. This rabbit hole goes deeper than you can imagine, and the only way out is through. But here's the thing. They're not the only one hiding something. You've got your own secrets, don't you? Little truths you've buried, little lies you've told yourself to keep the peace. Maybe you suspected they weren't what they seemed. Maybe you saw the cracks but patched them up with hope. That's on you. You're not just a victim, you're an accomplice in this dance of deception. And now it's time to own it. So stand up. Stop playing the fool. The truth is a fire and it's going to burn either way. You can let it consume you or you can wield it. You can let their lies define you, or you can tear them apart and write your own story. But you've got to move now. Their time's almost up, and with every shallow breath, the truth slips further away. Let's get personal. This betrayer, they knew exactly what they were doing. They studied you, learned your weaknesses, your dreams, your fears. They knew which buttons to push, which words to whisper to keep you hooked. They weren't just lying, they were weaponizing your trust. Every time you opened up to them, you gave them another bullet. And they've been firing ever since. You're probably replaying every moment now, aren't you? Every late night talk, every shared secret, every time they looked you in the eye and swore they'd always have your back. Lies. All of it. Those moments weren't real. They were bait. And you took it. Hook, line, and sinker. But don't beat yourself up too bad. They were good, really good. They had to be, to fool someone like you. But here's the flip side. You're not as weak as they think. They're betting on you, staying soft, staying loyal, staying blind. They're counting on you to cry at their bedside instead of demanding answers. Prove them wrong. Show them you're not just another mark in their con. Show them you can break free, and when you do, when you finally rip the truth from their grasp, it's going to hurt. Oh, it's going to sting. The truth isn't pretty. It's not a fairy tale with a neat little bow. It's a monster, all teeth and claws, and it's going to tear through everything you thought you knew. But that pain, that's your freedom. That's your power. Because once you face it, nothing can chain you again. Now let's talk about the end game. They're dying, right? Their clock's running out, and they're still clinging to their lie like it's their last breath. Why? Because they're scared. Not of death, oh no, they've made peace with that. They're scared of you. They're terrified of what you'll do when you know the truth. They're terrified of the fire in your eyes when you finally see them for what they are. So what's your move? You could let them go quietly. Let them slip away with their secret intact. You could play the good friend, the loyal fool, and cry at their funeral like nothing's wrong. Or you could fight. You could grab them by the soul and demand what's yours. You could make them face the truth before they face the void. But be warned, it's not just about them anymore. The truth they're hiding, it's going to change. You. It's going to rewrite your past, your present, your future. It's going to make you question everyone and everything. Your friends, your allies, even yourself. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to look in the mirror and see someone new staring back? Because that's what the truth does. It doesn't just reveal, it remakes. It strips you down to the bone and builds you back up, stronger or broken, depending on what you do with it. So don't just chase the truth, wield it. Use it to burn away the lies, to carve out a new path, to become something they never saw coming. Let's zoom out for a second. This betrayal, this secret, it's not just personal. It's a symptom of something bigger. The world's full of liars, isn't it? People wearing masks, playing parts, hiding truths because it's easier than facing them. Your betrayer? They're just one piece of a much uglier puzzle. A world where trust is a currency and everyone's looking to cash in. But you can be different. You can be the one who breaks the cycle. You can be the one who says, no more. No more lies, no more games, no more trusting blindly. You can be the one who stares into the abyss and doesn't blink, because that's what this is, isn't it? An abyss. A black hole of betrayal that's been swallowing you whole. And yet, here you are, still standing, still fighting, still burning with the need to know. That's not weakness, that's power. That's the spark that'll light up the dark. So don't let it go out. Don't let their lies snuff it. Fan that flame, let it roar, and use it to burn their world of deceit to the ground. We're not done yet. Let's talk about the cost. Chasing the truth isn't free. It's going to cost you your illusions, your comfort, your peace. It's going to cost you the version of yourself who believed in them, who believed in loyalty, who believed the world was fair. That version of you? They're already dying, bleeding out alongside your betrayer. But here's the secret. They don't want you to know. You don't need that version of you. You don't need the naive dreamer who trusted too easily. You can be something else. Something sharper, stronger, fiercer. You can be the one who walks through the fire and comes out forged, not burned. So what's it going to be? Will you let their lies define you? Will you let their silence be your story? Or will you take the truth and make it your own? Because the truth isn't just a weapon, it's a mirror. It shows you who you are, who you can be, who you were always meant to be. And they're just a shadow fading into nothing. Their lies, their secrets, their betrayal. It's all dust in the end. But you're the storm, you're the fire, you're the one who gets to decide what comes next. So decide right now. Because the clock's still ticking and the truth won't wait. Let's dig into the meat of it. This betrayer, they're not just a person anymore. They're a symbol. A walking, breathing reminder that trust is a gamble and you lost. But losing doesn't mean you're out of the game. It means you get to rewrite the rules. They thought they could play you, control you, keep you in the dark, but they underestimated you, didn't they? They didn't see the spark in you, the one that's about to ignite. Think about every moment they lied to you. Every time they looked you in the eye and fed you a story. Those weren't just lies. They were choices. They chose to betray you. They chose to hide the truth. They chose to let you believe in a version of them that never existed. And every choice they made was a step toward this moment, this reckoning. But you've got choices too. You can choose to let them go, to let their lies die with them. Or you can choose to fight, to demand the truth, to take back the power they stole from you. Because that's what this is about. Power. They took yours when they lied to you. They took it when they made you believe. And now, Now it's time to take it back. Let's talk about the lies themselves. They weren't just words, were they? They were a cage, a trap, a labyrinth designed to keep you lost. Every lie was a wall, every half-truth a dead end. And you've been wandering that maze for so long, you forgot what it's like to see the sky. But the walls are crumbling now. You can feel it, can't you? The cracks are spreading, the truth is leaking through, and it's up to you to break the rest of it down. What's waiting on the other side? Pain, sure, but also freedom, also power, also the chance to be something more than their puppet. Because that's what you've been, haven't you? A puppet, dancing on their strings, smiling while they pulled. But you're not a puppet anymore. You're a force, a reckoning, a storm. They didn't see coming, so go, tear it all down, rip through the lies, the secrets, the silence. Find the truth, not because it's noble or right, but because it's yours. They stole it from you, and now it's time to steal it back. The clock's almost out of time. Their breath is almost gone. And the truth? It's still there, waiting for you to claim it. But let's not kid ourselves. The truth isn't going to be kind. It's not going to wrap you in a warm hug and tell you everything's okay. It's going to cut, it's going to burn, it's going to make you question everything you thought you knew. About them, about yourself, about the world. And that's the point. The truth doesn't comfort, it challenges. It forces you to grow, to change, to become something new, and that's what they're afraid of. They're not just scared of the truth coming out, they're scared of what you'll become when you have it. Because you won't be the same. You won't be the trusting friend, the loyal ally, the one who believed in them. You'll be something else. Something stronger. Something they can't control. So don't just chase the truth. Embrace it. Let it remake you. Let it burn away the parts of you that were weak enough to believe their lies. Because when you come out the other side, you won't just be a survivor. You'll be a force. A fire. A storm that no one can stop. And here's the final twist. This isn't just about you and them. This is about everyone who's ever been betrayed, everyone who's ever been lied to, everyone who's ever trusted and been burned. You're not alone in this. The world is full of betrayers, full of liars, full of people hiding truths because they're too weak to face them. But you can be the one who breaks the cycle. You can be the one who shows them what happens. When you fight back, so do it. Fight. Demand the truth. Tear their lies apart and build something new from the ashes. Because the truth isn't just a weapon, it's a revolution. And you're the spark that's going to light it.